Hey everybody, it's your old pal John. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the History Buff channel. Alright, we're gonna get back to some Philomena Cunk, and this is all about my mate Paul. So let's get into it.
LSD isn't always a happy experience. Like, my mate Paul met this Italian couple whilst he was backpacking, and they invited him back to their room for a threesome. And they gave him some LSD, and when they got there, the bloke one pulled a screwdriver on him and made him shit in his own shoe and eat it. Whilst the woman one filmed it. And that's the side of drug use that Paul McCartney doesn't sing about, isn't it?
Oh my god! That is so funny! And she used Paul McCartney in that. I remember that.
Alright, Paul. Oh, no, I can't. I've got to read my book. No, I've got to read it in front of a camera. Don't know why. They just told me to do it. Could you describe a rude bit for me?
So there's a very famous scene where there's a woman, a very pretty woman called Alison, who everyone fancies, and she's in her bedroom with one lover, and then another would-be lover arrives at the window to serenade her and begs her for a kiss. And she sticks her arse out of the window, her naked arse, and he kisses that very enthusiastically, and then suddenly realises what he's done and is quite upset and runs away.
Right, that's not very rude, is it? Like, my mate Paul told me this joke about this bloke in prison who wore a bib round his backside. And that story went places I wasn't prepared for. Like, not even funny, just disturbing.
What's a bib? Like, what do they consider that? What does that mean in Britain? For us, it's like a baby thing to keep food off you.
And when I looked up, Paul was crying. My mate Paul sent me this thing on YouTube which proves that spiders are actually alive. They just look as if they are, and no one knows what they're made of. Before the Renaissance, other people's paintings were in a sort of wonky 2D. That's because artists had no sense of perspective. A bit like my mate Paul, who punched a waiter in a TGI Fridays for dropping his banoffee pie.
I wonder if Paul is real. Like, I'm sure it's a fictional character, but the stories are so good.
Being exposed to ancient Greek philosophy wasn't boring like it is now, but a mind-expanding experience that transformed the way they saw themselves. Like when my mate Paul ate 5 ketamine brownies and thought he could communicate telepathically with any animal he saw on television. Although, whereas Paul ended up sectioned for his own safety, our ancestors decided to change the world.
He's sectioned him off for his own safety. Oh, man.
What's the most disgusting thing you've heard someone do with a red nose? Because my mate Paul, he did this party trick that he always does with a red nose. And he put it sort of on his intimate skin. And it sort of tore it and it went septic. Actually, I think that might mean he qualifies for some sort of charity money.
Oh my god.
That is the first and most disgusting thing I've heard done with a red nose.
What a response.
It's awful, isn't it, to think what people might be doing with them right now. How could they have landed on the moon if the moon isn't real?
What makes you think the moon isn't real, though, Philomena?
It isn't. I don't know if you've done your own research, but my mate Paul sent me a video that exposes the whole thing. Can you prove the moon exists? You can't, can you?
We see it in the sky, we have sent spacecraft to the moon, we've brought samples back to Earth.
No, watch the video. It'll open your eyes. What's that?
This is a fly machine. It's like the helicopter.
Okay,
It
Da
doesn't look
Vinci.
very convincing. Like my mate Paul invented a treadmill for his fiance's pet snake, and the sketches for that were much more convincing than this, and he was on mushrooms. Mind you, the prototype did pull the snake's head off. Yeah. The worst ending to a birthday party I've ever been to.
That's so good.
My mate Paul did
What I want to know is, are they pre-written or did she write this on the spot?
a 30-mile sponsored walk to Harrogate dressed as Spider-Man for Help for Heroes. And on the day, he had terrible diarrhea, but he soldiered on. And it was one of the most noble but disgusting things I've ever seen. Eventually, the organisers had to intervene, but he raised £368. You know, the Crusaders never did that, did they?
No.
Some people have a sudden religious conversion, don't they? My mate Paul was driving to Winchester when a lorry jackknifed in front of him, and he was hurtling towards it, and everything went slow-mo. And Paul, who's never been religious, spoke to Jesus and said, "I promise if I survive this, I'll believe in you." And he did survive, but he fractured his skull and broke both his legs. Why did Jesus do that to him?
Well, you've raised a very significant question about the nature of providence.
Have I?
You have indeed. If we believe in a good God, why is there so much evil in the world? Now, your friend, Paul. His accident, to what extent can one blame God for that?
See, Paul never forgave him. He said, if I ever see Christ again, he's a dead man.
Right.
My
All right, so I mean, there's this. I see where they're going with this one. I do love me some good Paul. That sounded weird, but nonetheless, there's the difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament. So that must be what they're talking about. Like the Old Testament God, and this is if you're Christian, I guess. If the Old Testament God is an angry God, not somebody I'd want to necessarily be friends with. New Testament God is really compassionate, so it's and kind, and I don't know. It brings up the point of, which is not far from what she's saying, and she illustrates it quite well, I believe. If this is the topic, is that it's sort of a double standard of Christianity, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, for the people who are interested in that cult, that's interesting. I'm joking.
mate Paul wrote a story about a man.
She got me into it to say that. I don't know why. I got a sort of wild hair, I guess they say.
And he got a new potato stuck up himself following an ill-advised sex game. And he wrote that in the form of a limerick. No one died, but it sounds horrendous. Is that a tragedy? Or would the potato have to take root and kill him for it to qualify?
What the hell?
It sounds like a very unfortunate incident. I'm not sure it has a more timeless relevance that might make it a tragedy.
Paul said it really happened as well. Honestly, he's had such a time of it lately. He really needs a holiday.
All right, well, that's... Maybe Paul put it up the wrong side. Paul put it in the wrong side of his trousers or pants. All right, that'll make you laugh until you cry. I'm curious what your favorite part is on that, and most of these, by the way, they aren't allowed to go up. But I will do more of these and put them on my members page. So if you do like this, become a member. I'm currently in the process of going through a lot of Philomena stuff, and if you want to watch it, just become a member and you have access to it, like a lot of other things. All right, guys, don't forget, please like and subscribe. It's really important that you subscribe. I think it's like 80% aren't subscribed or something like that. But if you could, that would be helpful. Or thumbs up if you just really on it. All right, talk to you soon.